All right, guys. Chapter 1143, y'all. Starting off with a beautiful full cover art piece, which I freaking love to death. Again, I said this earlier, but I just love how much Oda will like very willingly draw like whatever the fans ask him to do. Like that's so freaking awesome. And if you end up being someone who asks Oda to draw this and then that ends up being a full color spread, dude, how epic is that, man? How epic is that? They're slowly building up every episode until it's ready for VA. You genuinely think we're getting simulcast too? Same. Same. I mean, why would we not get the simulcast at this point, right? We've got to, dude. We've got to. So much for us theorizing Loki didn't kill his father. So I definitely think he killed him, but I just don't think he killed him out of like malicious intent. You know what I'm saying? Because like I've been pretty hell bent on him actually like definitely doing the killing itself, but I think we just don't understand specifically why Loki had to do it. And then obviously, you know, him saying that, like, take a look around. Like, they all say I went and killed dad with pure murder in my heart, but you don't believe that, do you? Like, him saying that is just, I mean, it's the biggest confirmation that there's at least something deeper going on. And like everybody's been saying, Loki is not inherently the bad guy in this story. We just have that confirmed. Or at least that's enough for me to consider it confirmed at this point. I do like the confirmation that Gunko's arrow is in fact like a cloth. So it's like part of her clothes. So it's like confirming that she really is like Aizawa from My Hero Academia with the way these arrows are. So they're not like something coming out of her specifically. She seems to be controlling a cloth, I guess, which also leads me to wonder if there's a limit to like length or distance or whatever, because it seems like this can go really far. And it also, this confirmed, I was asking this question at the end of last chapter, can Gunko like do this from a distance, or does she have to be within like the room? And obviously like we have it confirmed because Gunko is sitting here with everybody just having lunch or having their pretend tea party for all intents and purposes. So she's not even here with the kids. One thing that I find interesting, and if somebody in the chat knows the answer to this, by all means, let me know. Do we know where exactly the Holy Knights are within this path? Like, are they waiting at the port right now? Is that where they're sitting, or are they like somewhere in the middle? I am not totally sure about that one. I'm still just super curious as to what Gunko's like limits on her power are going to be, because they seem pretty impressive with her being able to send an arrow this far away and have the kids follow that all the way from the Owl Library or the Walrus School, I mean, to the port. That's pretty interesting with her not physically being there, watching it, controlling it. You know, she can make it like a secondary thing. That's super, super interesting to me. But yeah, so Sommers officially being a Thorn man, which is crazy. Not the power I expected from him at all. We also, in the same vein, got the confirmation, I guess immediately after this, about Killingham's Dragon Fruit mythical type model Kieran, which is the dream manifesting man. So he is doing 100% of this. Not only is he putting the kids to sleep, but he's also the one creating the monsters from their dreams. And in this, which is crazy, he put Sommers to sleep real quick, which is a super interesting thing. You can kind of see like these like little like waveforms coming his way, and then when he does that, Sommers passes out and he like gets like a little thought bubble, which I love the way they're representing it. I can't wait to see this guy animated. I think Killingham is going to be so freaking cool animated. He's honestly one of the most fun characters I've seen in a minute. His design, everything about him is so cool. But him being able to pull stuff directly out of the dreams and then literally having like a picnic of their dreams right now is awesome. Having some of the best possible food they could have, the best salt in the world, all kinds of stuff like that. Of course, it does absolutely nothing for you because it's all made up. But it is super, super interesting that he can do that. And again, to Jet's point, it's all Alice in Wonderland coded. Incredibly Alice in Wonderland coded with all of this stuff. Which I do think, at least with this group of 3 Holy Knights, we can look heavily into Alice in Wonderland, and we could probably figure out a lot of the inspirations for that. Have I seen the theory that Kaido might be Harold's son? From the picture we saw in the throne room, he looks similar to Kaido. Also, the weapon Loki has in that little flashback that we just got looks like Kaido's. Oh, I see you. Damn, you're not wrong about that. Okay, so I wouldn't have put that together at all, which I freaking love that dude. Good looks, Fried. He definitely has a weapon very much giving like the same kind of weapon that Kaido likes to use. I am very interested in that theory. I'm not fully convinced on it, but there's not been enough for me to be like, no, I really don't think this is tangible. So I'm leaning towards this is very possible. I'm not going to die on the hill, but Harold being Kaido's father kind of makes sense. And, homie was out here, getting to it, apparently. Like, we do have a little bit of light lore, at least, simply from this right here, on the fact that, Loki and Hiriden have two separate moms. So who's to say that homie wasn't out there putting in the work even more than just the two of these confirmed people that he's gotten with and had kids with? It wouldn't be out of the question either, because we know that Harold likes to make kids with people outside of Elbaf. Exactly. And I think it's fair to assume that, like, the ogre race could just potentially be another offshoot of the ancient giant race, just combined with maybe something slightly different. Because Hiriden, what was the race of Hiriden's mother? Because I know, obviously, like, he's calling him a bastard here, and he's talking about how his mother had, like, filthy blood in her veins. What kind of giant was she? Because, like, I think we have so much more information on the way for us of, like, the different races within just the giants, like, race itself. It is crazy the way these thorns appear. Something that I find interesting. So his power seems based on love, or at least he likes to use love as, like, a catalyst for this power to make people fall into, like, this trap. The level of diabolical that Summers is actually kind of surprising to me. Like, every once in a while, One Piece will do this, and I'm just not prepared for someone to be as truly evil as this guy is. Because he's even like, I love to do it to parents and children, because I know the mom's going to hug their child no matter what, and then the child's going to have to watch their mom get, like, shredded to bits by these thorns. Like, that is diabolical, dude. I was impressed to see, like, how much Killingham is really doing. I mean, him not only putting the kids to sleep, but also running all the spirits and all that. Another thing I think I wanted to bring up earlier that I think I got sidetracked on. I think it's really important that he mentions the whole all this in 0 calories. Well, it's dream food, so 0 energy too. Haha. That seems very, very simple and obvious. Like, oh yeah, they're just having an imaginary picnic, whatever. But does that also mean that these monsters that are, like, flying around in the world right now are also, like, not something to be worried about? Like, we got these guys back here, and yes, they're big and scary, but, like, can they actually do real damage or not? Like, I imagine surely they must be able to do real damage, but maybe they are truly just a figment of imagination, and they're like a mirage or something like that, where he uses it to scare you and to get you to run away, but if you actually face that fear, then it really can't do anything to you. I am super, super curious. I feel like that would make his fruit super weak, and I don't know if that makes sense for him being a holy knight, but there's something about it. I feel like these monsters are going to be a lot easier to defeat than we think. Now, granted, we do know that they can physically touch you and hit you, so they do have a physicality to them, because he just freaking yeeted this ship out of nowhere. That was no problem. So they can definitely hurt you, but, like, maybe if you don't fear it, like, you can't be hurt by it. I'm not totally sure. You think your dream dragon theory is coming more and more based or is becoming more and more based? You just can't find the real world sleep dream dragon mythology. I mean, maybe there's not. Like, I do think we need to be careful with trying to find too many exact parallels in the real world, because and I know, I'm pretty sure you've made this point as well, Oda loves to combine all these things and then also likes to put his own little spin on it. So we can get close with stuff like that, but we won't necessarily get a guaranteed answer, But yeah, I'm interested, because these guys obviously do damage, so they are a problem, but, like, it might be relatively easy to overcome this. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. If these guys are powerful and you're manifesting fears, we do know that one of the fears that's been manifested is Nika, right? Like an evil version of Nika. So what if you believe that Nika is the sun god and Nika has XYZ abilities, right? Let's just say that these kids are assuming that this Nika has a body made of rubber, has some kind of, like, fiery maybe ability. I mean, whatever you want to imagine. When he manifests these nightmares from those kids, do they also manifest with those abilities as well? Which also means, let's say Killingham decides to take the version of Nika that Gunko is scared of. What kind of enemy would we have to face at that point? Could we get a potential, like, rival for, like, someone on the strength of an actual sun god, like the actual Nika? Like, because if you can imagine something horrifying and he can make it, that could tell me that they could make some real problem of a creature, It is interesting that they find these kids very expendable. So there's another thing which, like, I want to point out, which I think my theory is starting to crumble ever so slightly. But I initially was saying, like, they're going to take Colin for sure, and that's what's going to get Scopper Gabon to go that way. And then we're going to assemble the Straw Hats. Scopper might join them for the travel to get to Marie Joie, and then we go straight there, and then it's wartime, right? Like the whole big war kicks off and that's everything. Maybe that was just too obvious and too easy of an example, but at the same time, like it could still work out. So hear me out and you know, bear with me while I work through this thought with you guys. They're talking about how these kids are expendable, right? So maybe that's just it. Maybe they will in fact fail with these kids and end up grabbing Colin instead. But also that goes to show that they're not inherently going for specific kids. I think they just want kids in general. They just want giant kids, an umbrella of that. At first I was thinking they were coming with a very targeted, specific reasoning for this, but I just think we're back to they generally just want children to do all the diabolical things that you do with kids as the world government. And also, a lot of them have horns on these helmets, but it looks like this one right here, just very random fact. This kid right here doesn't seem to actually have a helmet on. So what if she just actually has horns and she's got a little bit of ancient giant in her? That'd be interesting too. I'm sure they would want a kid with ancient giant in them over a regular giant kid, but not totally sure there. It's so crazy that they have these kids just walking straight through the fire though. And they're like, no worries, if they die, we can just send more. Like, that's just so crazy to me. But guys, all right, so now to the tail end of this, which, you know, where the meat of it is. Shout out Luffy for just being the realest of real. Like, no matter what, as always, he's just riding for the fact that, man, this guy's hurt and he's going to die and he doesn't deserve to die. And Luffy genuinely just does not trust the level trust the level of distrust that everybody seems to have with Loki. And I really do think Luffy is a really good judge of character. So, you know, Luffy has that intuition and he tends to be right about it. It is crazy that like Loki was just bluffing for the most part because he is literally on death's door. So back to like what Jet said or has been saying for probably the last couple weeks since we were talking about this, he was pretty much going to stand up, do his one thing that we saw. We got to see him swing that hammer that one time and then he basically just passed out. Now it did take Luffy actually punching him to knock him over. So like, let's not deny the fact that Luffy did some work on it. But dude, Luffy hit him with a gum gum arm balloon. I mean, it's a big punch, but he didn't do it in any transformed version. He wasn't in Gear 5 or even Gear 4. So Luffy really didn't put that much power behind it. I do also love that Zoro was immediately like, bro, like Luffy, you need to hold back because you're going to kill this guy, which also is just sick to hear. Like someone riding for Luffy and the fact of like, hey, this is one of like the scariest threats we've seen so far in One Piece, but we already know that Luffy would absolutely dunk on him, or at least Zoro has nothing but faith that he would. I am super curious to see what a fully healed Loki looks like, but I am a little bit nervous with what's going to happen here, just on the simple fact of she says that this is probably going to take months, which worries me. That like, was this our perfect like plot armor to keep him out of the story in like immediately? Like having Shamrock pull up and mortally wound him makes it to where, yes, we freed Loki, but it really doesn't matter because he really can't do anything because he still needs to be healed. I'm a little disappointed in that on a selfish level, only for the fact of I want to see Loki in action. I want to see him pull up and cook. But at the same time, if he is that much of a powerhouse, we have to be careful about where we let him interact like within this story because things could start moving a little too fast. So I can appreciate that. Also, another just peak scene, Luffy's sitting on top of his horns. Like I didn't notice it right here, but in this you can see that Luffy's talking from the horn. And there he is, literally just casually sitting on homie's horn like it's nothing. So wild, dude. So wild. Also, another interesting thing to see is it's at least being portrayed that Harold loved his sons pretty equally, at least the way he spoke to him, but Loki seems to have the god complex of it. Loki, this is very much seeming like a foil to the way we got Dofi and Corazon growing up. Dofi was the entitled, I deserve all of this, I'm the best one, I'm the golden child kind of thing. And the weakness that Corazon was like showing just based on him having a heart and being a decent person was very looked down upon by Dofi. And I get a very, very clean foil of them like right here with Loki and Hiruden. Hiruden always being bullied for the fact that, you know, his mom had filthy blood or whatever. I'm curious as to like what Loki really, really thinks about that filthy blood. Like, does he have a reason outside of pure racism or elitism to dislike the blood of Hiruden's mother? I'm super curious. It feels like to me, Loki looks at, he probably looked down on King Harold for being willing to get with a giant that is not from Elbaf or a giant with this quote unquote filthy blood. So this could be a stain on Loki's ego to be like, my father would have been a great man if he didn't choose to mate with, you know, these filthy other races or whatever. And because of that, that could have led to him, at least being shown in the public eye to hate King Harold and be, the prime candidate to be the one who killed him. And, maybe there's some extra reasons in behind that. But either way, I still am convinced that Loki did do the killing. But that being said, why did he do it? Because with murder in my heart is the real thing. Like that's the real bit of this. They all said that I went and killed Dad with pure murder in my heart. And I think that is the angle. He did not do it with murder in his heart. He did do it, but that wasn't his goal. And maybe it wasn't even his goal to go kill him in the first place. He just went there and then he ended up having to kill him because of some crazy big reveal information. I'm still convinced that Loki is protecting Elbaf from the world government. I really think that Harold was trying, like we can see, he was proliferating with as many people as he can, trying to open up the world of the giants with the rest of the world, or at least the world of Elbaf and those giants with the rest of the world. So with all of that, I really do think that Loki is doing his best to just keep them from the world government, because he knows no matter how you cut it, they are going to destroy the culture and the way of life that Elbaf has been able to cultivate. This was a fantastic chapter, but it was pretty straightforward. I don't think there's too many things that we're outright questioning. Now it's really just back to what's going to happen next, I'm going to wrap it up. I will see y'all in the comment section on YouTube, all those places. Tell people you love them, touch some grass, drink some water. Yeah. All right, cheers, y'all.